Should have been on the trail at daylight, Randy. It is going to be hot. Hot, hot, hot.
August can be a tough time to be out hunting, especially in the Ruby Mountains of Nevada. Hot, arid weather, and lack of water are a recipe for dehydration. All of that, along with a 6-hour hike into a remote wilderness area, and there's no room for lack of preparation. Even knowing the conditions that I'd face, there were challenges on this hunt even I couldn't prepare for.
I bit off a lot this time. I don't know if I'll be able to chew it all.
A month ago, I began my preparations for this upcoming season, knowing that a tough Nevada hunt would be first up on the calendar.
We got a lot of work ahead of us. We're planning a whole new season, a whole new format, whole new style.
The goal is to show viewers what it takes to make a hunting show, but even more, the increased challenge that comes with doing this on public land.
The story we want to tell is the life of this TV host, the life of this guy who, he's not just a hunter when he's in front of the camera, but he's a hunter all year round. When this whole season is captured, I suspect all of the people who thought I'd love to have Randy's job are going to say, he can have that job. No thanks.
Yeah, my job is tough, but behind the scenes of a show like this are two highly dedicated cameramen working as hard or harder than I am, Mason Gertz and Brad Beese. Our goal is to take you along for an entire season, start to finish, every step of every hunt. When we're successful, or what's been keeping me up at night, when we're not. But as the 90% of you who, like me, hunt unguided on public land well know, kill or no kill, every hunt tells a story. Every hunt is worth the effort invested.
Our audience is not the person who's going to go and pay big dollars for private access. They pay their access with boot leather. Yeah. That's how they do it. And when they see someone on TV willing to do it the way they do, there's a connection there that gives us this great following that we have.
Everybody on the team knows that this plan for this new season is incredibly difficult and more than a little risky. Am I crazy to change On Your Own Adventures, a hugely popular show, and pursue this new idea I have? Am I fixing something that isn't broken? And lurking in the back of my mind is this health issue. I live with a rare liver disorder that flares up without warning. And when it does, life is not good for Randy. So never mind the animals, the mountains, the camera crew, and all the logistics. For me, a bigger question is this: how will my body handle this grueling schedule? Well, I guess we're gonna find out.
Well, this is the first hunt of the year, and we have made it one of the hardest hunts of the year. We have to backpack into the wilderness area, which I'm excited about. First time I've got a permit to film in a wilderness area, but I'm not in good shape. I've been so busy all summer doing volunteer work, traveling, sponsor stuff. This is gonna kick my butt. Bad, bad.
This season starts with the chase for high country mule deer in Nevada's Ruby Mountains. And the truth is this: I'm not nearly as ready as I should be. Inside, I'm worried. I'm worried that my stubborn desire and commitment to this new idea we call fresh tracks might lead to trouble.
Haven't fun yet.
With a new show concept and this really long season ahead, you think I'd be smart enough to ease my way into this. But the mountains call, and I must go. Our season-long journey starts with a 5-mile hike, mostly vertical, deep into the Ruby Mountains of Nevada, where I'll meet up with Dave Brinker and Jeff Sposito from Sitka Gear, who are already at our pre-selected remote camp location. I sent Mason and Brad ahead to meet with the Sitka guys, but that might have been a big mistake, because after a few miles of this hike, the mountains are winning.
Brad and I are literally getting our butts handed to right now. Super high elevation. Randy's probably a good 2 miles back.
The intense heat ramps up the dehydration, and my worst fear is coming true. My liver is struggling to keep up, and my body is protesting loud.
To run out of water.
After 5 miles and 7 hours, I finally struggle into camp at 9,000 feet up in the rugged Ruby Mountains, and my body is on the verge of shutting down.
I knew this was a bad idea. I know what I'm gonna look like tomorrow. Face is gonna be all swollen. My head is gonna be pounding.
I'm hurting, and I'm hurting bad. But even worse, I see some serious concern on the faces of the other guys, and the last thing that I want to do is jeopardize their hunts. Usually I can get through this with a little rest and a lot of water.
Well, guys, I hate to wimp out on you tonight, but I'm shot. I'm probably just gonna let you guys go and look around this evening, and I'll get my junk organized and see if I can charge a battery in here.
It sucked to watch the guys hike out of camp knowing that without rest and water, I'm only going to get worse. My hope was that Dave and Jeff would find some deer, and that by morning, my body would be ready to go.
Go get 'em.
My first morning in the Rubies, and I'm still in pretty tough shape. But nothing's keeping me in camp today.
Warm in August, they don't move all day long. They only move for about an hour or two in the morning.
Dave, Jeff, and I are going to split up, each covering different areas. We camped in this protected basin to be near water, but to get to where we think these big bucks are going to be hanging out, we've got to hike up, way up.
As hard as it is to get into this place, it's just as hard to get out of it, to go hunt these adjacent basins and drainages. You think you got a sturdy boulder until you put all your weight on it, and then it decides to not be so sturdy. Oh, what was that? Shaky legs, shaky legs.
Not sure what drives a man beyond his limits. I only know what it feels like when it happens to me. And after 2 days of pushing my liver beyond what I know is good, I'm nearly spent.
This is tough. Not a good idea for the first time of the season.
As I glass some of the best mule deer habitat in the country, my biggest concern is what it's going to take to get back to camp. We're just 2 days into a new season, a new beginning in how we bring our adventures to your TV. And physically, I may have already reached my end. The Ruby Mountains are named for the garnets found by the early explorers, but so far, all I've found here is pain. Lots of it.
I drank as much as I could drink, filtered as much water as I could, but I could tell it wasn't enough, and I took all the medications they give me for my liver, and I went to bed and I couldn't sleep because one of the conditions I get is when my liver can't process everything, I get swollen really bad, and it swells your whole face, your brain, and when your heart beats, it's like someone's got a hammer just hitting you every time on the head. In your brain, you just feel the boom, boom. And so I didn't fall asleep till about 3 in the morning, and I don't know what I'll be able to do tomorrow. Probably nothing. Everyone else the next morning is getting up, getting ready, and thinking they're gonna go out hunting, and that's at about 5 in the morning, and I crawled out of the tent, and I couldn't do it.
I won't be hunting this morning. I probably pushed it a little too hard the last couple days, so I'm gonna stay in camp, take water, meds, and see what I can do to get feeling better.
When you're the host of a hunting TV show, staying behind while someone else goes off and carries the load for you, that's hard to swallow. Brutal might be a better word. I've risked my entire outdoor television career on this new idea. And here we are, the first hunt of a season-long story, with me, sick in camp, wondering if the story's gonna end before we even write the first chapter.
All right, so this morning, Randy, his liver really acted up, and so he is not calling with us this morning. So Brad and I are gonna go out with the Sitka guys. Pretty scary because Randy, anybody who knows Randy, is he never just doesn't hunt because he's tired. This is bad news. He's sick. And I think we've bit off way more than we could chew, so. Yeah, so.
This hunt definitely isn't for the faint of heart. This is tough country. I feel like we should have been on a mountain goat hunt instead of a mule deer hunt. These mountains are big, steep, rocky.
I don't know if that's that same buck bed.
This home basin we're in here is pretty big. We knew we wanted to get out of this basin and see what was on the other side of the ridge. Turns out it was a little bit more of a chore to get over to the other side of the ridge than we expected, but nonetheless we got over there and we actually ended up finding and locating some really nice bucks.
We have bucks bedded in a spot that is stalkable. It's gonna be tough because there's a lot of deer around, and I couldn't follow all of them to see where they all went, so they're kind of scattered. But there's definitely 3 bucks in a spot where you, assuming spook deer getting to them, you could get to.
Well, about halfway down the hill, we were stalking, and we look over to our left about 400 yards, and there's 2 new bucks coming towards us.
But they're actually in a better spot than the ones we're stalking, so I'm hoping they lay down right there. Dude, there's too many bucks.
It looks like quality bucks are going to be hard to find on this trip. So the guys do the only smart thing. They split up, each taking a cameraman, and they make 2 solo stalks at the same time.
So I split off with Dave. He was going to go stalk those other bucks, those 2 3-pointers, and I was going to stick with the original game plan of trying to get in above where these bucks had bedded. We knew that there was multiple deer in there, some that we hadn't even seen. There was a couple does in there, but also that big 5x4, that was really what our focus was on.
With this wind, we only have 2 options. We can come straight in on them or get around them and above. It's really just going to determine which way the quietest and easiest way to sneak in is. I'm going to give it a go right now.
Started to stalk in there real slow. We're probably 20 yards in that deer trail, and there's a deer standing right there. Got down, stopped real slow, and that deer was 20 yards from us. I mean, we were in the lion's den. That was where those deer were bedded. Turned out it was a doe. If it would have been a buck, we would have been in the perfect spot.
Jeff and Brad's stock comes up buckless. But Dave and Mason are still on their way into position on these other bucks located down below.
I can't see them from here. We're just gonna trust that they're there since we don't know how many times we're gonna get all the way up in here. So we're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna go about another 110 yards to this big rock up here, right up from it, and take off our shoes.
I don't think it was their all-day bed. I think it was their first bed of the day, I believe, and the sun is just starting to hit them. And for some reason or the other, right when we got to 70 or 80 yards, they decided to get up and move. We didn't spook them, and they just started feeding and milling around, and it was way out of my range with my recurve bow.
They went into the valley of no return. We'll sit here and watch and see if they pop out, but they're probably just gonna go deeper into these aspens and lay down. Looks like Jeff's stock is over there. It's getting hot. I think we're gonna head back to camp and see how Randy's doing. It's been a great day. Seen a lot of bucks, had some good opportunities, and they're all still on the mountain though. That's the way it goes bow hunting.
It's the final day of this Nevada mule deer hunt, and I'm ready to give it another try, but just barely.
People are probably wondering how I'm going to shoot out my right eye when it's swelled up like this, but I'll figure it out.
With bucks being scarce, Jeff, Dave, and I decide to split up again to increase our odds. But feeling like I do right now, I know the odds are stacked against me.
You know, if it wasn't for the fact that I was producing a TV show, I'd be laying in camp today, just like I did yesterday. But in this business, the show must go on.
I'm really worried about Randy. The guy pushes himself way too hard. If he's that bad, then it's a whole different ballgame. Then it becomes not about shooting a TV show, but it becomes more about survival and getting the hell out of here.
You know, I've yet to find a way to kill a buck from camp, and opportunities to hunt and film in a wilderness area are to be cherished. So, healthy or not, whether I can even see out of my right eye, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to find a buck.
I know there's gotta be some bucks on the other side of this. Tired. Really tired.
But my body simply won't let me go far enough or fast enough to locate a buck in this nasty terrain. So my final day in the Ruby Mountains ends in painful frustration.
Fancy meeting you guys here.
Yeah, how about that? Looks like you're headed to the same spot we are.
I think we're going to the same oasis.
I think so. On the trail out, I met with Dave and Jeff, and they had a similar story to tell. So we all headed back to camp empty-handed.
Or BS.
After what it took to get in here, and after the Ruby Mountains got every drop of what I had left, better judgment said we get some help to haul out this pile of deer. And as much as it bruised my pride and my ego to do so, common sense prevailed, and we called the local cavalry to come and lend us a hand. And even though this is one of the most painfully difficult hunts I've ever endured, as I follow the pack string up the trail, my mind is already thinking about the next set of fresh tracks.
Well, thank God for the pack string. All I got to carry is some of my stuff. We gave her hell here. Gave it everything we had. Don't know what more we could have done. But now, we're off looking for some fresh tracks in Alaska.
Hunts like this normally end up on the cutting room floor. Very few encounters, a host so sick he could hardly get out of the tent. But we want to show you the good and the bad. That's hunting. It's something you can relate to. And even the worst of times can tell a great story.